They were likely rock's first supergroup, and it all started when these virtuosos took in a Jimi Hendrix concert. And the bassist, he was so juiced with inspiration by what he saw, he went home and created one of rock music's most familiar and magical riffs. One that just gets stuck in your head for days, and that's a good thing. However, when they showed this guaranteed hit to the label head, he hated it. He's a legendary guy. He thought it was crap. Some famous artists outside of the band had to talk him into actually putting it out. The supergroup, they were only together for a couple of years, and they almost killed each other in the process, but their music will last a millennia, creating genres and subgenres in the process so far. The story, you're not going to want to miss it. It's coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you love classic rock, classic music, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you're going to love this channel. We go in depth on the greatest songs, and we get it from the legends themselves. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss out on our content. And look us up on Patreon, where you can actually become an honorary producer. You can help us create more content, and we give you more content. Now it's time for another edition of Number One in Our Hearts, where we break down a classic song that was so great, so sensational, it should have been a number one hit. And this one, it's a no-brainer. Many regard Cream as the first supergroup of rock and roll. Cream was an interesting, complicated, and audacious trio consisting, of course, drummer, vocalist Ginger Baker, guitarist, vocalist Eric Clapton, and bassist, lead vocalist Jack Bruce. Although they were a unit for a mere 2.5 years and 4 albums, Cream's powerful confluence of musicianship produced some of the most artistically influential music ever recorded, highlighted by their highest charting achievement entitled Sunshine of Your Love. I'll be with you when the stars start falling. When the three musicians began their gravitation to form a group, Eric Clapton had already established a reputation as one of England's finest blues guitarists with stints in the Yardbirds and John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. Baker and Bruce played together in the Graham Bond organization. There was mutual admiration for their respective talents, in spite of character assaults and vicious onstage quarreling between Baker and Bruce. It was audible to the crowd while they were in the Graham Bond organization. Baker actually fired Jack Bruce at one point, but Jack kept showing up at the gigs to perform, apparently. The discord between the two came to a head when Baker threatened Bruce at knife point. Now, after a Blues Breakers gig, Baker took Clapton for a drive, and he asked Eric if he wanted to join a new group that he wanted to form. Clapton, of course, accepted Baker's invitation, provided that Jack Bruce was in the band as the lead singer. Baker was shocked by Clapton's stipulation, given his intense friction with Bruce. Jack and Ginger had a very stormy relationship that on paper should have been a perfect match. They both loved jazz, they both loved the avant-garde, and both rose to prominence on the British music scene, traveling down similar paths. There were times when they were close like brothers, and other times when they wanted to strangle each other. I suppose that too can be like brothers. Realizing that if the two of them teamed up with Eric Clapton, there was tremendous potential for greatness. They were able to put their differences aside, just enough to put a band together. Now, the band was originally called The Cream, before losing the in favor of simply Cream. I think that was the right choice. What a great name for a band. Are you serious? After launching their debut LP, Fresh Cream, in '66, the band began searching for the inspiration that would drive their second album release, Disraeli Gears. On January 29, 1967, Clapton, Bruce, and Baker attended a concert by the Jimi Hendrix Experience at London's Savile Theatre. The evening, as any Hendrix concert would be, was a life-changing event for the virtuosos of Cream, especially for Jack Bruce. Baker and Clapton were already mesmerized by the stirring originality and burning passion of one Jimi Hendrix, but Bruce was bursting with inspiration for what he saw on stage by that legendary guitarist. Oh man, Hendrix. After the show, Bruce rushed home and he excitedly developed one of rock music's most famous riffs on a bass guitar. A song called Sunshine of Your Love. Now, as we go into the song breakdown here, I want to recognize our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. The glasses that I'm wearing right now, when you shop at Zenni.com, you can do virtual try-ons where you can see how the eyewear is going to look on you and make sure that it matches your face, shape of your face. That's with Zenni's virtual mirror feature. Go get yourself a pair today and check it out at Zenni.com. Okay, so a short time after the Jimi Hendrix concert, Baker and Bruce were hanging out at the Marquee Club in London, one of their favorite haunts, to check out beat poet Peter Brown. Bruce and Baker were impressed with Brown's poetry, and they asked him to write lyrics for some of Cream's songs. Now, the initial thought was for Ginger Baker and Peter Brown to write together, but it became apparent that the best chemistry was between Peter Brown and Jack Bruce. Now, during Cream's 2.5-year run, Brown and Bruce would compose many of Cream's most notable songs, including the hits I Feel Free, White Room, and SWLABR with Clapton, with that soulful look on your face, as well as Sunshine of Your Love. Brown and Bruce continued to write together even after the demise of Cream, actually. In 2004, Brown formed Brown Waters, a film production company, and in 2010, he actually published his autobiography, White Rooms and Imaginary Westerns. Pete Brown told the story about he and Jack Bruce, how they worked deep into the night trying to come up with lyrics. So dawn was approaching when Jack played the riff that he invented after seeing the exceptional Hendrix concert on a stand-up bass. While Pete listened to what Jack was playing, he looked out the window and wrote down his observation that turned into the opening line for Sunshine of Your Love. It's getting near dawn. When lights close their tired eyes. Pete Brown would ultimately write 2/3 of that song, with Bruce helping to complete the verses. Ginger Baker pointed out the song was in dire need of a chorus in the middle eight, and he actually asked Eric Clapton to compose it. I've been waiting so long. To be where I'm going in the sunshine of your love. The sunshine of your love. The artistic proficiency that bestowed the label of supergroup on Cream is clearly manifested on Sunshine of Your Love. Bruce, Clapton, and Baker are at their finest on that psychedelic blues masterpiece. You know, when it comes to improvisational blues rock phrasing, Clapton is in a class by himself, especially within the context of his studio and his live work with Cream. Clapton's trademark woman's tone guitar phrasing on Sunshine of Your Love seductively accentuates Bruce's 10-note melodic structure, the exact guitar that Clapton used to capture that smooth, dark, sustained resonance on Sunshine of Your Love was a 1964 Gibson SG, otherwise known as The Fool. And just after the 2-minute mark on the track, Clapton's incredible solo kicks off with the melody from Rodgers and Hart's standard Blue Moon, blending minor and major pentatonic scales as he follows the chord changes. It's no wonder why Eric Clapton earned the nickname Slowhand. He has an uncanny ability to move so smoothly from one great, eminently melodic phrase into the next, while also riding the groove and pushing it forward, you know? Clapton has had a prolific solo career as a guitarist and a vocalist, but in his tenure with Cream, he deferred most of the lead vocal duty, of course, to Jack Bruce. That's the way that Eric Clapton wanted it, and that's why he was so insistent upon that as a condition for joining the band in the first place. Clapton recognized Jack Bruce's forceful timbre and the sweeping vocal capacity, Bruce had great control, great vibrato, and fullness to his distinctive singing style, especially on Sunshine Your Love, his consummate performance.
I'll stay with you, darling, now.
In fact, it was Bruce that taught Clapton to develop his vocal prowess. Yeah, here's the thing. Eric was shy, and he didn't think of himself as a lead singer at that moment. But Bruce believed otherwise, and his encouragement helped Clapton become an accomplished vocalist. According to Clapton, it was not volume or technique or virtuosity that defined Jack's presence on stage. It was his obvious desire to make the most out of every musical opportunity. The music and the experience of playing it took me to another dimension. On the subject of greatest drummers of all time, the great Ginger Baker perennially makes the top 5. Especially during the rock era. Many place Ginger at numero uno, though. Irony is, Baker adamantly declared that he never played rock music. He considered himself solely a jazz drummer, who was heavily influenced by Phil Seaman, regarded as one of the all-time greatest UK drummers. It was Seaman that turned Baker onto an African style of drumming that Baker worshipped. Baker's African toms caress Bruce's iconic Sunshine of Your Love melody, concentrating on the sound of the lower toms. It's just a cool, laid-back rhythm that galvanizes the mood of the track. Baker injected jazz sensibilities into a rock format, and it was the perfect application for Sunshine of Your Love, reminiscent of the jazz drumming in the bands of Woody Herman and Benny Goodman. In a bio section of Ginger Baker's official website, Ginger recalled disliking Jack's riff for Sunshine of Your Love, insisting that they slow down the tempo. Ginger then employed a backwards drum beat on the track's revised cadence and knew that the changes gave the song the wow factor, and he was so right. As time goes on, relationships fracture and memories fade. There are different accounts on the final arrangement for Sunshine of Your Love. Baker claims to have put the finishing touches on the arrangement, including the slower rhythm pattern, while engineer Tom Dowd, the great Tom Dowd, stated it was his idea. The original music Dowd heard for Sunshine of Your Love reminded him of a score one would hear during a 50s-style American Western movie. Dowd's recollection is that the band was having trouble making the arrangement click, so he asked them in the recording studio if they'd ever seen an American Western with Indian percussion, where the downbeat is the beat. Dowd added that when Baker started playing the song the way he suggested with the backward beat, all those parts came together. It really cooked after that. Now, regardless of who had the bright idea, the execution was absolutely flawless, and the band was elated with the finished product when they submitted the track to Atlantic Records president Ahmet Ertegun. However, Ertegun, a genius, he was not impressed. He called the track psychedelic hogwash. Ertegun was also never in favor of Jack Bruce as the frontman for Cream. He didn't think the bass player should be the lead figure, and he wanted Clapton to assume that role. So as the head of the label, Ertegun was trying to bulldoze his power on the band's decisions. Now, Ahmet is a legend, like I said, genius. How could he be so wrong about this? So dead wrong. It's just one of those wonders. Ertegun finally capitulated and agreed to champion Sunshine of Your Love only because his trusted artist advisors, Booker T. Jones and Otis Redding, told him that they thought the song would be a smash. Otis and Booker T were absolutely right. Sunshine of Your Love was a smash. It entered the Billboard's Hot 100 chart on January 13, 1968, reaching number 36 during its initial 14-week run. So the record re-entered the chart in July of 68, and it climbed all the way to number 5 in August of that year. Now in the UK, the single was not released until September of 68, after Cream had already announced their impending breakup. Imagine that. Polydor issued the UK single. It reached number 25 in the charts, which is incredible to me. The single also rose to number 3 in Canada. Among the song's many honors, Sunshine of Your Love was included on the list of the 500 songs that shaped rock and roll by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'd say it's one of the top 10 for sure. Tom Dowd, who engineered Sunshine of Your Love and Cream's second studio LP, Disraeli Gears, passed away in 2002. Dowd was, of course, one of the most coveted in his field for decades. So Felix Pappalardi was the producer of Sunshine of Your Love as well as Disraeli Gears. Felix was brought in by Ertegun, mostly because Dowd was having a tough time dealing with how loudly, get this, how loudly Cream played. He was not accustomed to working at such a high decibel level. Amazing. As a record producer, Pappalardi was best known for his work with Cream. As an artist, he was most noted as the bassist and co-lead singer for the band Mountain. Pappalardi co-wrote Mountain's biggest hit, Mississippi Queen. Pappalardi was shot and killed by his wife, Gail Collins, in Manhattan with a Derringer pistol that Felix had given his wife as a gift. Collins was subsequently charged with second-degree murder and was found guilty of the lesser criminally negligent homicide. Gail Collins, Pappalardi co-wrote songs with her husband for Mountain and for Cream, including the band's first single, Strange Brew. Music aficionados have incessant arguments about which band is the greatest. Most of the opinions are based on personal opinion, of course. In terms of pure artistic merit, though, a strong case is to be made for Cream to be the greatest with the group's cerebral blend of power, intricacy, poetic lyricism for sure, and innovative musicianship. To me, Cream changed the landscape of rock music forever. I mean, for a trio, they were ferociously explosive, making it hard to believe that a sound that big could be generated by a band of only 3. They were the precursor to other powerful trios that would come later, like Rush and Muse. Cream was a complex assembly of musicians, with brash, esoteric personalities that characterized their bold preeminence. The constant tension between Bruce and Baker forced the band's short but impactful longevity. I gotta tell you, they were nothing short of a miracle. You listen to those albums, it's just phenomenal. They decided to break up in '68, but they were persuaded to make one final album released in '69. It was fittingly titled Goodbye. Inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993, sadly, the great Eric Clapton is the only surviving member of Cream. Drummer extraordinaire Ginger Baker died in 2019. Jack Bruce passed away in 2014. Bruce is one of the unclassifiable luminaries of rock, an amazing instrumentalist who elevated the role of the electric bass with his inventive, peerless technique. Pink Floyd's Roger Waters not only referred to Jack as the greatest bass player of all time, but also the greatest musician he'd ever seen, period. Bruce should also be recognized for his phenomenal vocal style and his idiosyncratic songwriting. He was a daring performer who had an unpredictable career, transitioning from pop, jazz, blues, rock, and experimental music. Gosh, Jack Bruce will forever be remembered for his crafty 10-note melodic pattern that birthed Sunshine of Your Love, one of the greatest classic rock tracks ever. Really an incomparable hard rock riff that's a must for future generations of guitarists to learn. Sunshine of Your Love is one of the definitive songs of the psychedelic era in the 60s. It was a vital motivator for troops in Vietnam, as well as a soundtrack for the hippie sector that opted to dodge the draft, both. As much as any song, Sunshine of Your Love captured the spirit of that volatile period of history, and it holds up tremendously in these modern times. The song has been reinterpreted many times by other artists, often placed in TV and film. On TV, Sunshine of Your Love has been featured in a lot of different episodes of TV shows, or The Family Guy, Seventh Heaven, The Simpsons, Perfect Strangers, Futurama, my favorite being The Wonder Years, among many others. On the big screen, it was used in Bohemian Rhapsody, Blood Ties, A School of Rock, The In-Laws, True Lies, The Matchmaker, Backdraft, Goodfellas, love that use. And then, of course, Judd Nelson's character, John Bender, did a little air guitar to Jack Bruce's famous riff in the scene from The Breakfast Club. The first time that I heard Sunshine of Your Love, I was like 7 years old. My dad was playing the record, and I swear at that age, I didn't get it. I thought something was wrong with the speakers. That riff was like an earthquake to my senses. I mean, from then on, I compared every rock song to Cream. Seriously. By the way, the 4 songs ahead of Sunshine of Your Love on the Billboard Hot 100 the week that it peaked in August of '68 were Hello, I Love You by The Doors at number 4.
Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name?
Light My Fire by Jose Feliciano at number 3.
Come on, baby, light my fire, yeah.
Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf at number 2.
Born to be wild.
And People Gotta Be Free by The Rascals at number 1.
People everywhere just wanna be free.
I'll let you come to your own conclusions on that one. But what a top 5. And compare that to any top 5 over the last 20 years and try not to cry for how far that we've fallen as human beings. Decades later, nothing compares to Sunshine of Your Love in that time. What's that old saying? The cream always rises to the top. Hey, thanks for watching. Leave us a comment about this unbelievable supergroup. Tell us why you love Sunshine of Your Love, your feelings on the music of that time. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us about Cream, about the supergroup. I mean, just go to town. We want to hear from you. If you like this video, we do invite you to subscribe below to our channel. Click the bell so you never miss out. Help us create more videos. Check us out on Patreon where you get more content and you help us keep the music alive. Till next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends. We'll talk soon.